Hello, everybody! Welcome back to the live recording. Sorry for the jump scare. I'm Kyles, and I'm going to do a couple announcements today. We're going to read Arc 6, Chapter 65 to 66. I got to update that goal booster. I got to figure out what I've missed the past couple days. Thank you all for donating, supporting, watching, liking, subscribing, smashing the bell icon for the past couple weeks. We do appreciate all of you. You guys have been crushing it. Hello everybody, good to see you. Also overwhelmed, thank you so much for popping in and saying hello before you run away. Anyone who's trying to catch up, you're welcome to stick around for a few minutes, of course. But, excuse me, yes. What a cliffhanger would be fantastic. Yay! Okay, we will talk more to you guys in a few. Only announcement I got, podcast, we don't have anything right now because we haven't gotten to a part in, like, Arc 9 where the boys can add, like, another podcast, and I'm still reading Arc 7. Boo, I'm still getting there. But as soon as we can, and we've also been having a summer life. Crazy, I know. So we haven't been able to record on a normal Friday. So hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll get a new podcast out. But we're pretty much caught up for the time being with Arc 9. We have Arc 7 underway. I have already sent out Arc 7 Phase 2 to our voice actors, so they are diligently recording, and it's due September 8th. So if any of our voice actors are listening, heads up, there you go. Phase 3 is going to be scheduled for this upcoming week. Yay! And then, of course, me and my editors are working diligently on Arc 6. We almost have the first 10 chapters ready for you guys to go that are pre-edited, pre-mixed, recorded from all of our mistakes, glitches, errors that we've had live. So, yay! We will have that ready for you shortly. No timeline on that yet, though, because we're still working hard on it. But we got all of our voice lines in, so yay us! All right, I think that's all the announcements I have. Let's bring on the team and say hi, introduce.
Right? Yes.
Everyone's live.
Hello.
Hello.
I won't speak to that anymore. Just request if you could send me a link to it after we're done so I can peek at it.
Thank you so much, Chill.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chill. Strong start. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Full group today. No illness or otherwise very important occupying commitments.
Activities.
Yay! Without further ado, let's get introducing. Al, take it away.
Hello everyone, I am L. I am the guy in the basement. Yeah, that's about it.
I'm Connor. I guess I'm the guy in the chair then, if that's all what we're doing.
What?
What?
The guy?
The guy in the chair.
Which chair?
It's a reference.
Okay.
Chat gets it.
Yes.
Alright, I get
it's
it.
not.
It's not.
I'm
It's
sorry,
not
my
the
brain
first
goes in a
one.
really weird way. Anyways, we're
Well,
moving
yeah.
on. Greenie?
I got it. Greenie here, one of the editors of Studio Reverie and one of the other occupants of the basement.
Hello, I am Carmen, another one of the editors for Studio Reverie, as well as the voice of Melee and Lie Button Kaitos.
Yay.
No more Sues. We've nixed the Sues.
Yeah, we've killed them.
That's what I heard.
Fucking, they're gone.
No more.
I'm Kyles McGiles. I am a neglectful manager who's been away for a little bit. I am Amelia. If Shala's here, maybe. If Anastasia's here, maybe. But we got our voice actors back. Just not live, of course. That's all I'm going to cover for that.
Hello, everybody. I am Tealdi. I am stand-in Betty, I suppose. And also, narration is back today. Woo!
Woo.
Woo-hoo.
Hey everyone, Wolf here. I'm a co-host of the ReZero podcast, and I'm also your voice for Subaru. Yay!
It's so weird to hear you in my ears now. It's so strange.
Does anyone else picture Prince Zuko introducing himself when Wolf introduces himself each stream?
What?
Why Prince Zuko?
With the, hey there, Zuko here.
Hey there,
Oh
Zuko
my
here.
god.
That's rough, buddy.
Why am I always the traumatized characters?
He's a bit too front and center to be like the guy standing off in the corner, like, "Hi, everyone." Smiles, waves.
Smile.
It'd be quite interesting, but
Prince Zuko's voice actor is in Date Everything. If anyone's played
Really,
that game.
that's fucking
Fireplace.
funny.
Fireplace? That's crazy! He's Fire Nation!
And in a Hook or Pan,
Yes, he's
whichever one
It's in
that
Hook.
movie is named.
Hook. He's one of the Lost Boys. Anyways, so we doing this chapter today?
Yes.
I got
What is this? We're
sidetracked.
starting the chapter on time. We didn't go on a
There's
tangent.
chapters?
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for you guys to keep tangenting, and you didn't. So I was like, okay, let's go.
Locked in today. Woo!
Is that all we have to do is just talk about voice actors at the beginning of each stream and then we're fine?
Apparently, I just have to talk about my
Apparently.
For the
childhood
most part,
crush.
yeah.
Everyone goes, ugh.
Ugh.
Or we all just need to be like sleepy as fuck.
That too.
Maybe.
Sleepy. I've
it's,
been
it's a
working for
Saturday.
2 hours.
Guys, everyone take sleeping pills before stream.
No.
Yes.
I don't need to do that.
No.
You
We
would just
do
hear,
not
you
condone
would just
drug
hear pain and
usage.
groaning noises from me instead of
You just like hear like a mid read. Oh, so he reached out and said,
Kyle's, you did this. We were about
Then
to
you're a
start
thud.
and you pushed us away.
Hey, I'm just giving what the people want. Even
They
Chills
want-
was like, aw, don't ban
No, they
us."
want the clips. That's what they want. They want the clips.
Yeah, I mean, it had to happen.
All the bands. Yeah, we keep.
Now
Trying to
we're
get
ready
Chase-
to.
I wouldn't be surprised. Trying to wake Chase up this morning was insane. He was just like, do I have to? I was like, kinda, yeah. Let's go. Let's go. We gotta go.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
where or who I was.
Oh,
So
the,
you had
the
like
best kind
got
of
like
wake up
half
time. We're like,
eaten or something.
oh, Lord.
Half eaten.
Yeah, like the eaten, but it like wore off.
Sorry, I didn't finish my meal.
Damn it, Common. You're not supposed to. I don't know where I was going with that. I give up.
Were you gonna say you're not supposed to stream on an empty stomach?
No, but that was way better than what I was gonna say. So you can't speak with your mouth full. But Common's mouth wasn't full.
What?
It's impolite. Fuck.
Hey, Aldi, take us away to fix this, please.
Anyway, hey, who's ready for a chapter?
Who's excited?
What is bro saying?
Bruh.
All right, you kids ready?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
ready as ever.
Hi.
All right, let's do it. Arc 6, Chapter 65, the 2nd, the 5th, followed by Majestic and undaunted, a red-haired great man had appeared in this place. Reed Estrella. The unforeseen entrance of the man, his sharp blue eyes lacking any consideration for the other side's surprise, his very presence caused everyone, even Gluttony, to be at a loss for words.
Oi, oi, the hell you spacing out for, you pricks? Is me being here something so surprising, huh? It's a matter of course, eh?
And seeing Subaru and the others completely petrified, Reed struck his left eye covered under the eye patch with a finger of his, and struck the sandals he was wearing onto the floor, a gesture implicitly referring to the entire tower.
I wasn't even able to take a nap because all the damn noise happening outside and inside. It's so boring that there ain't even a drinks here in the first place, and then this happens. No way I tolerate it.
That's completely your own convenience, isn't it? As you could see, we're busy here in our own way. Don't make things more complicated.
You say something, small fry? Sorry, but your voice is so low I couldn't hear a thing. Well, even if I could hear it, I'd still say I couldn't hear it.
Your shay stubbornness sure is shitty.
And what was nasty was not merely his stubbornness, but also his timing. Too weak to blame him, not enough substance to protest him. Subaru, stumped by his violent and relentless words, realized that he was feeling afraid of Reed and tightened his fists. His soul remembered the sense of defeat pertaining to Reed's existence. That was not simply because of what all Reed had made him experience back when he had been filled with suspicion. Even in the previous loop, he had faced Reed's repulsive audacity. At the time, Subaru's heart was not supposed to have feared Reed this much. But now, at this moment, why could he feel it peculiarly, unusually severely? That was...
Because my soul clearly recognizes you as an enemy. Right.
Nice, small fry. Didn't mean you raise your status from that of a small fry, but I'll commend you for not misunderstanding that I ain't a convenient backup.
Even if you said, "Rejoice! I'm your backup!" There's no way I'd possibly accept such stupid words coming from you in full.
You sure said something.
Unraveling his fangs in ferocity, Reed laughed like a shark while Subaru concealed the chills that sent down his spine. Reed's proclamation just now was also, in a certain way, a pronouncement of hopelessness. However, Subaru had never thought of Reed as something like an ally from the beginning. That had merely been affirmed. He had not been mistaken. And upon the arrival of Subaru and Reed's exchange at a point where it paused,
Well, say, Reed Estrella.
and so, the personage who had promptly returned to his true spirit, gluttony, called out Reed's name. Right at the center of the frozen isle, the insane Sin Archbishop was standing literally between Subaru's group and Reed, and upon being focused by that line of sight glinting with vicious emotions, Reed glared towards Gluttony, snorting his nose in displeasure.
Oh, what is it, midget? Oh, what a filthy little midget. What is it, filthy little midget, Chan?
You're the first generation sword saint, aren't you? Then why are you here again? According to our memories, you, the examiner, shouldn't be able to come down from the upper floor. Isn't that right?
Ignoring his humiliating nickname and provocative efforts, Gluttony fired the question at Reed. The memories he had spoken of were clearly Subaru's memories, which was quite infuriating, but Subaru and the others also shared the same question that he had raised. The arrival of Reed Estrella, the examiner of the second floor, onto the fourth floor. This was something Subaru had also witnessed in a previous loop, and had considered it as one of the 5 obstacles which must be cleared. The trick behind the phenomenon of him freely walking within the tower was entirely unknown. However, that phenomenon would only occur at this stage of the game. Should it be said that he had been able to walk around all this time but simply chose not to, then the issue would be entirely different.
Whether there's a particular trick behind it, or the Kamari of the tower itself changed, either way, you're doing this out of calculations. And we have no choice but to rethink the full course in a lot of ways. Whether having the appetizer is the Juriori and then the desserts. That's standard, you know, right?
Don't ramble about such incomprehensible bullshit, you shitty, filthy midget bastard. I can't calm down. Brace your eyes and look, you prick. You can understand the stupidity you're talking about just by taking a look. Hey, you prick. Oi, you over there.
While speaking, Reed pitched forwards towards Gluttony in displeasure. His form, with his white fangs unraveled and glaring with a single eye, was indeed like the natural style of a delinquent. However, the pressure he himself exerted was incomparably more than those of delinquents who gathered in front of convenience stores, enough to make one feel their life threatened by simply its after effects. Should it be equated to something, then what was standing there was a beast, which was the mixture of a tiger, a bear, a lion, and a dragon, all in a single body. Clad in every possible hint of violence, Reed bared his fangs.
Joke around, you prick. I'm doing whatever I wanna, however I wanna. No way I'd accept someone's instructions, you prick. Don't be joking around, you prick. First of all, right back at you, the hell's up with ya? Whose permission did you get to be making a racket here, way over there, you prick?
How amazing! How unbearable! It's impossible to get talking!
Turning the holy sword of ice he held in his hand into fragments of ice, Gluttony combed up his long bangs. It seemed even Gluttony could not fare well with an opponent who was this difficult to get dialogue across to. Even with Amelia, someone with whom there was no use in arguing, there had been hints of struggling, but Reed was multiple levels above Amelia in terms of being difficult to converse with. However, Gluttony, pertaining to the opponent this incompatible and resumed, spoke, although, and
As prey, it's the finest quality. Our appetite as gourmets starting to crave binging. Eat it away, chew it up, lick it all. Attain the flavor. Gluttonous drinking. Gluttony.
roaring, maddening in excitement and ferocity, Gluttony positioned his limbs onto the frozen floor and glared at Reed, making his lengthy tongue peek through his white canines, as per the command of the aberrant appetite, which indulged in the memories of others. Impossible to be understood by ordinary men, his saliva drooled and dripped onto the floor. And
Sin Archbishop of the Witch Cult, representing Gluttony, Libatan Kaitos.
whether that statement was boastful or conceited, anyhow, Gluttony, no, Libatan Kaitos gave his name, kicked the floor of ice, then immediately followed instantly, and commenced his sprint with the velocity of a fired arrow. That spectacle was like a scene of a furious quadruped amidst a hunt, his dash wild enough to make one truly hallucinate that as well.
What a pain.
Focusing on Button Kaitos charging ahead madly, Reed put a single finger in his ear and grumbled as if troubled.
Well then, I'm the swordsman, Hoary Larier.
Who even is that?
The guy who lived behind my house in my hometown.
Subaru thoughtlessly shouted at that excessively grand alias, to which Reed responded quite indifferently. Afterwards, he pulled his finger out of his ear and looked down on Button Kaitos, immediately before him.
Let's eat!
Putting aside the smoking Nietzsche on possibly saying that, but being told that by a dirty midget-chon like you isn't gonna make me happy.
As Button Kaitos advanced in with his large mouth open, his body was intensely shifted horizontally. That was because Reed's right leg was crudely unleashed, its kick capturing the side of Button Kaitos' torso, in order to energetically strike him into the wall of the aisle.
Don't make the sound of a chicken being strangled, you prick. Let me tell you, a chicken tastes delicious after being strangled, but I don't intend to eat you. Don't care about gluttony or whatever it is. You came jumping at an adult. Hope you're prepared for a spanking, you prick.
Whilst speaking, Reed pushed Button Kaitos' body onto the wall with his leg, and started running across the frozen aisle at a speed incomprehensible for someone on one foot. Of course, having been pushed onto the wall and being slid across its surface, possessing the ruggedness of ice here and there, Button Kaitos was in no state to be able to resist. The damage was enormous and destructive.
Oi, don't you start screaming with only this much. This way it won't even be something to consider. This ain't even what's made for children's play in my era. Brats these days not only filthy, but also meager, eh? Oi, 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 you prick!
Declaring with displeasure, Reed stopped his feet and turned around halfway through at that spot. With his leg, which had pressed Baten Kaitos onto the wall unfastened, the body of the Sin Archbishop slid down. Before that, the left leg he had bounced himself with launched a rotating kick, which energetically slammed into Baten Kaitos' side, and his petite frame was blown off like a rubber ball. With unusual vigor, Baten Kaitos sprang onto the floor whilst taking a defensive stance. The Sin Archbishop, rotating at a high speed and bleeding, went through the gap between Amelia and Julia, finally tumbling onto the back of the aisle, next to Subaru and Beatrice. As he lay spread-eagled, fallen on the floor, no longer did he display any of his former strength. All this was easily enough to kill anyone, but perhaps because of his exceptional awareness of defense, that was possibly not the case here.
That guy. He was the formidable enemy who'd been overpowering both Amelia-chan and Julius until now. Right.
No question in that, in fact. But this one exceeds norms even more, I suppose. That's why it can be said that the situation has worsened in some way, in fact.
The war cards have only changed places.
And that, too, to a worse opponent, I suppose. Beatrice, tightly holding Subaru's hand, was vigilant regarding Reed in front of them. Instead of the collapse, well, the situation had already shifted from the battle against gluttony to a new warrior. Even in the midst of that.
Really? Thank you for beating the Sin Archbishop. And can't we just go ahead and get along like this?
Before anything else, Amelia spoke to Reed in a friendly manner. She offered a proposal for peace befitting of her. However, in response, Reed shook his head, shrugged his shoulders, and stomped on the floor. Clearing away that proposal with those 3 gestures of his body, Reed scratched his head.
Don't be saying such demotivating shit, you twat. Actually, the hell's up with you, you twat? You're too much of a smoking hottie. That's happening, and it ain't a joke. Aren't you a smoking hottie? Why are you in this place, you twat? The hell you're doing in this situation? Don't be touring around this sandy bullshit place. Instead, let's go for drinks tonight, you twat.
This is the second time, though.
Unfortunately, she cannot accompany you for your evening drinks. The reason being...
Oh?
A knight of peace shall not visit you, phantom.
Saying so, as if intercepting the inelegant comment, the sole man who stepped forward with his night sword prepared, Julius, stood off Reed as if covering for Amelia, and sharpened his gaze by honing it with knightly spirit. Right before those yellow eyes, Reed changed his expression slightly.
The hell, prick. Haven't you gone a bit better, huh? Is something gonna happen, you prick? A woman? Gotta be a woman, right, you prick?
I shall not deny that certain events happened which affected my preparedness in many ways. However, I will state that they were not because of involvement with a female. If the embrace of a female can heal a wounded heart, then so can the relentless reprimand of a friend.
Still a bastard that keeps beating around the bush. That hasn't changed, huh? The hell do you want to say?
That in other words, the fact I am able to hold my sword like this is thanks to my friend.
An instant after that declaration, Julius tipped up his night sword with sharp footsteps, painting the tip of his sword with beauty enough to make one doubt their eyes, and fired a strike toward Reed's neck. The opponent had not shown any hostility yet. Such a thoughtless identification was entirely unneeded. Upon standing at the spot, Reed's thoughts were clearer than fire at night. His unrestrainable fighting spirit could even be felt on the skins of the bystanders fleetingly. It was inconceivable that one possessing such fighting spirit would remain without using weapons, Reed was motivated, just like in the previous loop, without giving any regard to the surrounding situation either. Hence, Julius made the preemptive strike without any indecision. That choice was the optimal solution. It could be affirmed that this precise strike, aimed for dampening the calm and attitude of Reed, was a necessity for defeating the first generation Sword Saint at this juncture. Problem was,
Do you have any idea what it means to be calm and composed? It means being able to do anything with flexibility regardless of whatever petty tricks are played, you idiot.
Julius's preemptive strike had been intercepted and stopped by the two chopsticks Reed held in his hand.
Well, it wasn't bad, you know. If your opponent wasn't me, you'd probably have made him taste at least this one. Well then, let's go.
Julius let out a groan at his thrust being defended against, to which Reed laughed like a shark. At the same pace, Reed gripped one chopstick in each of his hands and swept away the tip of the. Plus, simultaneously, he stomped ahead and launched blows from his chopsticks. The impact struck the knight's sword solidly, giving rise to a clear echo. Two slim sticks, far shorter than a sword in terms of length, but by being wielded by the expert known as Reed, they turned into a weapon far greater than their size let on, and revealed destruction. The moment subsequent to that clear echo, the shockwaves that rose made Julius's hair and clothes flutter, and created cracks in all of the frozen parts of the aisle all at once. Literally exceeding normal, going against common sense. It was a lump of abnormality fitting to be named as a glitch of this world. Even though Subaru had seen his physical strength times in the past, seeing the personage himself rendered Subaru speechless. The negativity of the fact that such a monster existed in this world, and the devilish nature of the latent feelings of the designer who decided to overcoming the monster as one of the conditions for the tower's capture, nauseated his chest. However,
Oh, I'm actually a tad impressed.
it was unknown how much of Reed's full strength had been applied into that blow of the chopsticks. However, it appeared that even that blow being accepted was out of Reed's calculations, and he commended Julius's fighting spear for warding off the chopstick's strike. Receiving that, Julius squinted his eyes while blood seeped out from the edge of his mouth.
After all, I must win against you, or otherwise our calculations will fail, you see.
Your intent's to win, ain't it? Yet you dare to bark at me?
So it seems. But allow me to give you company.
At that moment, a strike of Julius's sword flashed, which was fended off by Reed with his two chopsticks in a crude manner. The sword's momentum got deflected, and Julius's stance crumbled. Was not the case. Julius, having considered his knight's sword being swept away, rotated, and delivered a second blow of the sword with no lag whatsoever. Thus commenced a sword's dance, like a refined flow of water with not a single droplet going to waste. Subaru inhaled, witnessing with his own eyes the sword's dance, an accumulation of countless offensive and defensive moves. This was the limit of what Subaru was able to follow with his eyes. Indeed, what Subaru was able to follow with his eyes amounted to this much. But this was proof of Julius Jaculius's willpower and disciplining in seeking to reach the pinnacle of the sword, called the Sword Saint. If Reed's swordsmanship was like blazing flames, then Julius's own was like flowing water. Speaking in terms of basic compatibility, then the water ought to extinguish the flames. However, the flames here were mighty, so mighty that they could simply evaporate the opposing water and reduce it to nothing. Perhaps many swordsmen akin to flowing water had been evaporated away by the blazing flames of Reed's swordsmanship. However, at the very least, Julius had no fear of throwing himself in there and getting himself evaporated as he continued launching destructive and unavoidable attacks upon Reed. And
Don't think that your opponent is just Julius.
I ain't forgetting smoking honey. Your face is just too good to forget.
Thank you for the compliment, but there's only one person who truly remembered.
Amelia joined Reed and Julius's swords dance, wielding a mountain of armaments of ice. Due to that, Reed turned one of his chopsticks against Julius and the other against Amelia. Whether that could even serve as a countermeasure, such banal sense of values were smashed by Reed's swordsmanship. Glaciation interrupted the swords dance of blazing flames and flowing water, and the colors of the battlefield altered into further vividness yet again. The cast of the swords dance had been changed by one, with Reed being the opponent instead of Baton Kaitos, and Amelia and Julius's crude coordination resumed. No, that also changed. Perhaps it was due to the enemy being stronger, but much more likely it was that the two of them brought their battling styles closer to each other's in this short interval and made amendments, somehow making them match the others smoothly. And so, their cooperation turned into actual cooperation. Julius is matching with Amelia, in fact.
You get it?
There's also their compatibility on the basis of their personality, I suppose. Amelia's resolve became better, and Julius became capable of moving accordingly, in fact. Probably, Amelia was correct in getting rid of the idea to match him, I suppose.
What an amazing chew.
Regardless, since it was going well, that judgment had to be correct. In the end, Amelia did not hold back and did everything at her own pace, and Julius matched with the other person's easy-to-comprehend movement, adorning himself being his specialty.
Good going, you pricks. I'm starting to have fun too.
Yeah!
Joyfully brushing away the two whilst they cordially engaged with each other, Reed laughed loudly. Amelia then let out a shout and launched a mighty attack one would not think could come from that voice, but it failed to become the decisive blow. A marvelous swords dance, as if an illusion of water, fire, and ice intertwining. The knight's sword was steel, the sticks that appeared to have been turned into steel due to skill and force they were being used with, and the weapons of ice which struck, broke, and regenerated, all gave rise to high-pitched notes. The sight was so beautiful that it was capable of making one misunderstand that such a dance was truly being performed. Henceforth, the dissonant existence which wedged itself in obstructively seared itself into everyone's minds as foreign to both eyes and ears.
Bastard! I can't!
Squeezing himself into the space where the battle of the three unfolded, obstructively and rudely, was what Lai Baton Kaitos did. The young boy who was supposed to have eaten Reed's kick and tumbled into a state of near death. He stood up and rose once again, joining in on the battlefield as if he had not suffered any damage whatsoever. Baton Kaitos swung the daggers fastened to the wrists on both of his hands, and by combining those with the battle techniques that made skillful use of his short limbs, he continuously fired fatal attacks under the three, one after the other. Amelia, Julius, and Reed, each of them defended themselves with annoyance. They caught Amelia, Julius, and Reed off guard, and the three respectively defended against them, troubled and hurriedly. However, their defenses against them was imperfect, and some bits of their hair and clothes sliced off.
How stubborn of you not to give up, Sin Archbishop!
Shunning us and then leaving and then having fun? Stop doing such nasty things, Nisama. Always and always having it just to yourself, eh? How unfair! Truly!
Raid, I'm sure you get it. That there's no point if we even fight here. Will you help us? Just stay still at this very least, please.
clueless woman you are, smoking hottie. I'm enjoying myself as things are, you know? Even if the great stars fall from the sky, my plans ain't bending.
Huh?
The four, whilst exchanging heroic blows upon each other, knocked their respective wills against. This was a spectacle of battle, impossible to be approached readily, impossible to be disunited from the odor of blood, in which it was impossible to reach a common ground. For an outsider, it was difficult to judge who was at an advantage, who was at a disadvantage, who was superior, who was inferior. All what was possible was to hope for their allies' victory. However... Subaru! Then, Beatrice was astonished to see Subaru, who do nothing but watch and hope, kneel down whilst gripping onto his chest. She knelt down and touched Subaru's shoulder, looking at his face as he breathed hoarsely. Subaru! Subaru! What's wrong, in fact? What happened, I suppose?
No. What is this?
Subaru? Against Beatrice's desperate calls, Subaru tightened his grip onto his chest and blinked repeatedly. There was absolutely no intention to deceive or around in him, but even Subaru could not comprehend this peculiarly oddity, this pain. Unbelievable heat swelled up in the interior of his chest. His heart was beating at a rate as if it would explode. He could feel every single drop of blood flowing within his body, an awful and incomprehensible sensation, that of an alarm bell sounding. He did not understand. Right now, what was happening to his body? This phenomenon was something that had not happened in any of the loops until the current one. Is it some sort of chronic sickness? Or even worse, some sort of magical interference? Rushing across all of the knowledge he possessed in his mind, he went through the worst-case possibilities and shook his head. No, this was perhaps not something negative. The alarm bell was sounding only because problem. Inhaling deeply, he then exhaled. Till now, Subaru's brain was being seared by concern for Amelia and Julius, fighting Baten Kaitos and Reed right of him. In terms of the situation, his powerless self could do nothing but stand and watch. In this situation, scorching Subaru's brain, the advance of the 5 obstacles busy with this, that being the 2 remaining obstacles. 5 obstacles. One was the large horde of witch beasts which surrounded the tower. One was the Sin Archbishop of Gluttony, launch an attack on the tower. One was Reed Estrella, who would start freely walking around the tower. 3 of these were present in the current situation. The remaining 2 were the Titanic Scorpion, which would wander around the tower with an expression as if it owned the place, and the colossal black shadow that would swallow the tower with fearsome power. Those 2 must also be dealt with, or the problems falling upon the tower would not get disposed of. In the background of Amelia and Julie's strenuous effort, the moment he troubled over dealing with the possibilities seeking the collapse of the tower, his chest pounded with heat and made Subaru kneel down. His heart continued beating fiercely. Remaining conscious of his heartbeat, Subaru slowly breathed and closed his eyes. He thought that he should do what his body wished him to do. Abiding by that, he closed his eyes. Seeing Subaru's condition, Beatrice stopped her call. Perhaps she possessed no confidence in doing so either. Yet she made that gesture. Subaru was blessed to possess such understanding comrades. And behind Subaru's eyelids, a curious sensation welled up. There were faint, fleeting lights levitating against dim darkness. Faint, warm, blurry light. There was one right beside Subaru, and 2 at a slight distance from him. Strangely enough, Subaru comprehended that there were lights behind him without even having to glance backward. Behind him, there were 4 lights. One of them was at some distance from the rest. And he realized that one was approaching overhead.
Beatrice!
Yeah! For some reason, Subaru blindly trusted the sensation, and without any hesitation, he rushed towards Beatrice and leapt away from that spot. Hugging the young girl's light body in his arms, Subaru tumbled onto the floor without faltering. That instant, he grasped that scorching heat assailed the thigh of his right leg. It gave rise to a wail of anguish. He instantly realized that the burning sensation originated from a deep wound. Perhaps in an attempt to turn his eyes away from his leg, Subaru looked at Beatrice whilst hugging her, and, forcing his eyes to open through the pain and tears, he saw...
I knew it'd come, this shitty scorpion!
Subaru threw that up in rage. With this as the second chance meeting with it as well, what had appeared before him was the Titanic scorpion. Scorpion, possessing a black shell and eyes like red luminous dots, had the rest of its legs crossed walls as it lorded over Subaru and the others. Faced with that horrifyingly humongous creature, Beatrice widened her eyes. Within Beatrice's line of sight were the scorpion's pincers, which had inflicted a deep gouge to Subaru's leg. The scorpion ecstatically upheld Subaru's flesh in its pincers. The scorpion ecstatically upheld Subaru's flesh in its pincers, dripping a large amount of blood onto the aisle. He had been worried about the intrusion of the Titanic scorpion. 5 obstacles he needed to overcome had all assembled here. This was bad. 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 Comprehending how unfavorable the situation was, Subaru tried searching for a means of survival within his thoughts, which were being scorched by ache. However, nothing dawned upon Subaru as to what could bring about a positive change in the situation. Baten Kaitos was here. Reed was here. Even the Titanic scorpion had appeared. Even if Melee and Shala restrained the horde of witch beasts, the other cards had already failed to function well with the turn of events. This would not do. This path would not do. With a further, different way of action. Subaru!
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 Subaru, gnashing his teeth, was able to hear 3 voices strike his eardrum, calling for him. Beatrice's poignant voice, Julius's tensed voice, Emilia's pleading voice. Subaru heard them respectively call for him. Finally, Baten Kaitos, Reed, the Titanic scorpion, each of them moved towards the others, as if in order to hinder the actions, the path of Natsuki. But even before that, an impact struck the tower with immense vigor, entirety quaking with violence, and a thunderous roar echoed. With that, Subaru's body, lying on the floor, bounced away. Emilia and the others who had waged battle were... Even the Titanic scorpion's shell was crushed. The world crumbled. The small body beside Subaru was hugging him, seemingly in order to protect him. Hugging that soft body back, Subaru widened his eyes in the midst of the impact.
I love you.
There present was solely the darkness harboring blind love that tried to swallow Subaru. At that instant, everything in the world, white and black, men and women, love and hate, all had been consumed by the quaking impact. Solely, Natsuki Subaru managed to escape it. Subaru. A call towards him, an attempt to draw it closer to him. Subaru hugged the owner of that voice. Within his arms, the body moved about in fluster and panic, looking upwards from the middle of his chest. That was...
Beatrice.
Yes, I suppose. You're doing this so suddenly surprising, in fact. Well, it's not as if Betty doesn't like it, I suppose. But Betty was just worried because you'd only returned from the book. But seeing Betty's name being called first is relieving, I suppose. Indeed, Beatrice whispered so while still in Subaru's arms. Hearing her words, Subaru looked around himself. What had happened immediately prior? He had fallen onto the aisle. His leg had also been wounded. Then he had gone back into that dark, dark shadow.
Library.
For the moment, if you would clear whether you are still half asleep or not, then I believe we could proceed with our codes of action as well, Natsuki-kun.
That voice struck Subaru, astonished to find himself surrounded by vast stores of books. Upon looking, he found that it had been Echidna, smiling wryly whilst caressing her light purple hair. Behind her was the shelf she leaned on, and Meili, who rested her chin on her hand, saying, "You're finally up!" Subaru! Subaru, what happened, in fact? Are you not feeling well after all, I suppose? Can you speak about what you saw in the book, in fact?
Well... I also need to do that. But...
Subaru tightly hugged Beatrice's petite body and enjoyed her warmth, and recognized the reality that he had to recognize. He had returned to this moment. Subaru had returned to this moment, having failed to overcome the 5 obstacles.
Yay!
Woo!
All right, before we talk about this chapter, we're going to quickly reset this call. I'm going to start it up, so that way we don't have so many glitches this time around, and then we'll continue talking.
Mhm.
All right, everyone disconnect. Don't come back until I'm back. Oh, that was easy. Wait now, you wolf. Thank you. Join. Yay!
I've been revived.
Oh! Great work, everybody.
Oh yeah, it's rewind time.
Boom, ba-dum.
Oh yeah.
There's
There we go.
Greenie. Perfect.
Yay!
I have returned.
Woohoo!
How's everyone?
Woo, woo, woo. Great job, Al. How's your voice?
That was amazing.
I think aside from Subaru, or not Subaru, from Amelia's name getting eaten, I don't remember this chapter happening at all. Like him just getting snapped in half by the scorpion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like sped through this one too. I was like, too much. Keep going.
Well, this is also the part in the arc where the pacing starts to speed up. So
Yeah.
I think like it's a lot more easy to blur in your brain because of how quickly you'd be reading through these chapters.
I did not prep my Amelia voice, by the way. Sorry.
I accidentally said Onisan instead of Onisan, so I read as accidentally attracted to men instead.
Don't go after Al.
Deep lore.
Man, all those weird things
Damn
you were
it.
saying to Subaru
God.
don't make sense.
Also, that wasn't nearly enough This Is Bads, but I started losing my place, so it's like, that's probably enough.
No worries.
Oh my gosh.
You hit about 21 out of 37, so it's close enough.
Ah!
It's a
Over
lot
halfway.
easier to read that stuff than it is to narrate it.
I always give up
Yeah.
on that stuff. I read like 3 or 4, and I'm like, yeah, that's good enough.
Apparently it's bad. Okay, got it. Moving on.
I like to do it when
Okay,
when I've set it up as like a Subaru line, just because it adds to the atmosphere. But
Mhm.
when it isn't, pain.
Yeah. And also, after a while, there's no more punctuation, so it's like, I'm running out of air. There's nowhere to breathe here. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I ended up doing with the Nazi Super was here. I was like, okay, I ran out of breath once. Maybe I'll run out of breath like 2 more times, and then we can move on.
And then call it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, each time I'm doing this, I am not saying as many. I am just running out. I cannot get enough air inside of me for this.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Sir Poop Scoop.
Thank you so much.
Oh, wow.
Thank
I
you,
do love
Senior.
your
Thank
name.
you.
Holy.
Oh my god.
Thank you.
Oh, Senior. That's what that is.
Senor Poop Scoop.
Senor Poop Scoop.
That is a glorious
Or
username.
Sir Poop Scoop. You're goated, either way.
Goated. Thank you.
You drop this, King.
I don't know how.
I'm like Harroy Larry or something.
I can't believe he just doxed his neighbor. That was so fucked.
Yeah, I was like, what?
He's probably dead already anyway, the
Yeah.
prick.
Yeah, random fucking neighbor that he lived in.
It's never random.
It's not. I can guarantee you
That
not
character
random.
is in a short story.
Yeah,
I'm
that
positive.
character has importance. I shit you not.
That's crazy. Not to pay, just drop in lore. Hey, I want you to read all my side stories, okay? Here's another banger for you. Go read my side story.
It's because Tapei has like he's explained this in interviews. He has a genuine obsession with what every character is doing at different points in time.
Which honestly, I love. Reading the side stories for Arc 7, there's 17 that were going to be voice acting. All of them were peak.
Some
they're
would
pretty
say
great.
necessary.
Yes. Oh boy. Those before we wrap up Arc 6, I'm going to make you guys do Arc 6 lines because it's literally the exact same cast, just what's happening after what happens at the end. So, we'll make sure you guys get that beforehand.
I mean, we could do Arc 7-1 as the kind of end to the 6 before we do any transition stuff and
Oh, that's really smart.
pause and break.
That is what happens in the light novel. So if you want to keep the pacing,
Or do you yeah, you know what? I think they're going to end season 4 like that too. I think so.
Yeah.
No, season 4 ends this episode.
No one would come back. No one. This would be the
It's just-
second
Sorry
core.
guys, we ran out of budget.
Super ran out of lives when he got chopped in half by the scorpion. That was it. Sorry, end of
Give us
story.
another 4 months.
He finally
We'll come
died.
back with another
No more
core.
and the
interviews.
rest of the episode is just 5 minutes of Tapei dancing.
That'd be kind of funny.
That
Though.
sounds like an actual fever dream I would have.
You know,
That should be our
would
loading screen. Should just be Tepe just flipping around on our screen.
I wonder if we can find the rotoscope for the Chica dance and just make a skeleton.
Oh my
of Tepe
God.
and put it there.
Dude.
It's art.
Guys, we need someone to make a Tepe 3D model.
You know,
Yeah,
what, if
just
we
use
ask that,
Audacity,
it's gonna
fine.
show up in our Discord within several months.
Several months. Yeah, it'll eventually happen.
Seems like
Maybe.
Super's kind of fucked. Can I just say?
Yeah,
Like,
he
Yeah,
do be.
he was starting out good, and then he got cooked immediately.
He got cooked.
Because the issue is, right, he's dealt with multiple problems before, but he's had a lot more flexible time to work with. He has, no time here at all.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we say that he's dealt with these problems before, but he kind of hasn't.
This one hasn't, yeah.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah,
not
this
for
one-
this
this
one.
one
I mean,
hasn't.
he's had to deal with 2 separate issues in, differing timings and stuff like that in Arc 4. But he
Yeah,
hasn't.
but he had auto.
He doesn't have the time anymore.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
the threats are also way more threatening.
Well, technically, the earliest situation where he's had to deal with 2 threats at the same time, or 2 unknowns at the same time, was even Arc 2, and at then he was dying, bro. He broke down from just 2 threats alone that were not as bad as this, and he has given less than 4 days. I don't know, maybe a few hours each time. He's given harder threats. He's given less information.
And he's nerfed.
Yeah,
he's just nerfed. He's just straight
Yeah,
up nerfed.
and
Yeah.
he's just straight up nerfed.
So
Dementia.
what was that strange heat feeling in his stomach that was giving him
Yeah.
alarm bells though? That was
Man, I
bizarre.
wonder what that
It was
is.
kind of feeling like a heart attack, but hold on,
Pregnancy.
it's positive.
It was Embred.
I think he just has really bad heartburn problems from all the stress.
Yeah.
Horrible ass.
Yeah, his heartburn was flaring up.
Shala fed him some Hungry Horse King in his breakfast and he
God.
didn't notice.
Oh,
No, no.
Oh shit. Oh no. She like slid it in,
Mhm. Like swapping
this will
food
be
with
such
your
a fun
sister.
prank to play on Master. Oh no, Master's combusting.
Wait,
Master was worried about burning up again, so I'm gonna get him used to it slowly.
Wouldn't this morning also be the morning that he just woke up after getting his like memories? Like a waste he went to eat.
Yeah, it is.
Or,
Yeah, it
like
is.
to explain himself, and Shala said, "You know what? This memory. Oh, Master, always losing his memories. You know what? Maybe this Hungry Horse King will like kick it into gear."
Well,
She may be stupid.
speaking of kicking into gear, I suppose we should jump into the next one too.
Well, I have to wait just a second, because, well, actually, let's see here.
I almost went through the entirety of a Takeo water bottle.
Might have to wait just a second, because, Kyle's has just walked off for a sec.
No problem.
But I have a big question for y'all.
Okay.
How the fuck does Super get out of this? What does he do?
Save scum.
So he grows wings
What?
like a bird.
What?
Bird people are the
And
answer.
he flies away and never
didn't-
looks back.
That didn't work out well in Berserk, so maybe he doesn't do that.
Maybe he doesn't do that. Maybe he learns how to teleport and quantum tunnels through the ground and
Okay.
leaves.
I've got a crazy theory here, guys. Now think about this, right? Right? He's still got the lust blood juices in him, right? Right? So,
What?
what if those juices escape and make a clone Subaru, and then he has Shadow Clone Jutsu, except it's an actual clone, it's just him and a clone? Because it's amnesia
I thought-
Subaru, right? Right, guys? Come on, I'm just saying. I'm cooking here.
I thought you were gonna say like he sprays them out of himself like pocket sand.
Wolf,
Pocket
what you have
cursed blood.
uncovered. What you have uncovered there, Wolf, is how Tappei is going to resolve the Amelia Rem waifu war situation.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh.
Two
You just have
Subarus.
two Subarus. You have
There was
Natsuki
peace in our
Subaru and
time.
Natsuki Subaru.
What if he
Easy
just said
answer.
no?
The kid then knows how to clone people, so I mean, just go from there.
Ryuzu Meyer.
Do we
except
trust a kid, though?
To make the Ryuzus, that seems all up and up.
it worked with the Ryuzus
It did.
to some degree.
But did it?
Yeah, like to some degree, like they were not the same.
Right, but if
Um,
you put them into the trial where she got downloaded with all of Ryuzu Meyer's memories,
Oh, okay. So
if you do that
so,
immediately,
the trial
so he
that's
doesn't
kind
have
of like broken and it doesn't exist anymore.
well, there are other ways that we haven't seen in the story yet that could work out too.
I can figure something out.
Oh yeah, no, I see what you mean. Okay, that'd be fucked. That'd be fucked. That'd be really fucked.
Oh, yes. All coming together.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
Back.
mean,
Welcome back.
Thank you. Woohoo!
back.
Sorry, I had to run real quick. Phew.
It's okay.
I tried thinking of like a quick joke to make within those like 5 seconds. I failed. I failed.
It's
There
okay.
was no running joke to be found. I
give you my mush
I
brain.
can't do it.
Mush brain?
Yeah, from earlier in the episode. I was just fucking dying.
Mm-hmm.
Are we ready for chapter 66?
Yes.
Hi.
I hope so.
Hi.
I hope so.
Oh, I hope
Ready
so.
as always.
Hi, hi. Poor Greenie. Greenie's like, yeah, I'm here. I'm ready.
Yeah, he's got the error
sure.
sheet up and he's
No.
just like, fuck, back in the office again.
Fuck.
No, I
That's
have
how
the
it
timer.
feels. That's
I
how
have
it
the
feels.
timer ready to know when it starts.
Hell yeah. All right. Oh, Al, do you have enough water, by the way?
I've already gone through like 16 ounces of water, I'd like to say.
16
Um,
ounces.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nope.
hold on.
That's almost 2
Don't-
coffee cups. That makes sense.
Isn't that a pound?
A pound of water.
Pound of water.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm almost gone. Maybe
You're almost
4/5 of the
100%.
way through this 24-ounce container. I'll probably be fine.
473 milliliters.
You know how
Ah.
human beings are mostly water? Ours just all water right now.
You'll be
Yeah,
fine
no,
with the
I'm
amount of
just
water
water.
I drink.
Not in
Hey,
We got
solidarity.
this. Hey, yo. We got this flavored water, and I've been chugging it back. So I'm like, well, not today, but yesterday I was 2 liters in.
Nice.
Holy fuck.
That's a whole soda bottle of water. That's new for me.
That is not new for me. I am just water. I am
Aquaman.
3% more than the human average.
Chilled,
Which
you
I
were
don't
right.
even know if that would make sense.
All right.
Like,
oh.
okay.
keep going.
I'll start the damn chapter.
Chapter 66!
It's fine. Okay.
All right, now strap in, strap in.
Go, go, go.
Okay.
Okay.
Arc 6, Chapter 66. Second chance toward the denouncement. The first thing he did was to make his heart accept the truth that he had returned by death. While stroking the concerned Beatrice's head, who was in his arms, Subaru reflected onto the predicament that he had experienced immediately prior, that were also happenings of the future. The fact that he had returned by death meant that he had been unable to evade the circumstances of crises befalling onto his life. Ignoring the disasters he knew would arrive, he had exposed the lives of his comrades to that hazard. No, that was naive. That was not what had happened. He had not exposed their lives to hazard. Subaru had let Amelia and the others die. He knew that would be what it would come down to, yet he had overlooked it. The 5 obstacles assailing the tower were in existence difficult to be neglected. Despite knowing that, Subaru had failed to evade the problems due to his indiscretion and naivete. What perhaps had decisively taken away his life at the last moment had been the colossal black shadow which relentlessly destroyed this humongous and gigantic tower itself. That was the greatest and the final obstacle. Taking it into account, he arranged the 5 obstacles in his mind again. The first was the large horde of witch beasts pushing into the tower all at once. The second one was the Sin Archbishop of Gluttony coming with the aim of Subaru's memories and name. The third was the Titanic scorpion, which would invade the tower at some unknown time, lurking in a blind spot, and subsequently attack. Fourth was the rampaging Rita Estrella, swaggering about freely in the tower, ignoring all enemies and allies. The fifth one, and the last one, was the Black Shadow, which swallowed and ruined everything. Their circumstances evolved at the same time, and overlooking even a single one of them would easily cause the entire plan to collapse. Could it be said that the jet black shadow, which should by all means be feared, was a gesture of kindness by this unfair and absurd world of notifying Subaru of a time limit? He was in a dilemma whether it was an issue he should feel grateful for.
Leaving the first one, the large horde of witch beasts to melee, Shula.
This choice could be affirmed to not have been wrong. Last time, no, right now, that would be the time prior to the last one. In the loops until the second to last time, the 5 obstacles had certainly also occurred concurrently. Subaru had also witnessed the scenario of the witch beasts invading the tower. Should that happen, crucial fighting forces like Amelia and Julius would have to face the witch beasts in order to restrain them. That had been avoided in this loop in which Melee had survived. The strength of Melee's existence was unmistakably a single step forward. However, it was still not sufficient. Even if the large horde of witch beasts could be held back, Subaru and the others were helpless against the following obstacle. Amelia had gotten her name robbed by the Sin Archbishop of Gluttony, who had appeared, and though they had somehow managed to have Julius join the fight against Bat and Kaidos, subsequently Reed partook in the battlefield. Resultantly, the two, Amelia and Julius, were forced to battle on 2 fronts against both Gluttony and Reed, causing valuable time to be lost, ultimately leading to the Titanic Scorpion's intrusion, and reaching right at the Shadow's announcement that the time was up. In other words, that balance must not happen. The number of moves they had was lacking. On top of that, what Subaru feared were the words of the Spin Archbishop of Gluttony. If Louis Arneb were correct, 2 of Gluttony were supposed to have arrived. He had encountered Lai, Bat, and Kaidos. However, the other one's form was nowhere to be seen. This was bad. This was bad. This was bad. This was bad. At any rate, this was bad. Even though the situation was progressing with every second, even though Subaru alone had attained a grasp on all the problems, even though he had piled up so many deaths, he did not have the full picture in clarity. It had taken far too long for him to make a step. Why did his self spend so much time in inactivity?
Beatrice! Calm down, I suppose.
With Subaru's brain overheating, smoke about to billow from it, Beatrice suddenly sandwiched his cheeks between her 2 small hands with force, bringing his consciousness back to reality through pain. With her hands still on his cheeks, Beatrice resumed at distance close enough to exchange breaths.
Subaru, talk about what happened in the book, in fact. It'll be fruitless if you take it upon yourself alone, I suppose. Explain it properly, and we'll think about it together. That's Betty and the others' forte, in fact.
What happened in the book?
Hearing Beatrice's earnest appeal, Subaru looked at the situation he had been placed in with a bird's-eye view. He had accepted the truth that he had returned by death, and similarly, he also had to recognize and etch the place he had returned to as well. This place was the 3rd floor's library of Tegeta. In the room surrounded by bookshelves housing countless books of the dead, Subaru had returned to the scene that took place immediately after his consciousness came back from challenging Reed's Book of the Dead. And speaking of what happened to Subaru in the book...
Stand up happened.
Eh?
No, I mean, I got my back kicked and was driven out of giving up. Shit, this is so pathetic. I've made no progress at all.
Subaru scratched his head in front of Beatrice, who rounded her eyes. He subsequently stood up whilst keeping Beatrice in his grasp and slowly looked towards the environs, towards the duo of Echidna and Mei Li, the members who had been waiting for Subaru to wake up quietly. He was already aware of what the missing Amelia and Ram, Shala, and Julius were doing. The circumstances were already breaking forth. There was no time to halt. That was why.
I'll cut it short. I failed to see Reed's memories in the Book of the Dead. Something got in the way. Books of the Dead are connected to the souls of the existence called Odd Lagana. That's why I encountered a problematic fella.
Hearing Subaru's short and quick explanation, the 3 widened their eyes in surprise. Subaru gestured an apology for not giving them the time to halt and give thought to it, and continued his words, them being...
The Sin Archbishop of Gluttony, Louis Arneb, has declared war on us.
Though I must say, we have come so far to the eastern border, and Sin Archbishops again. It seems that there is a profound and immeasurable connection between them and Natsuki-kun.
After listening to his explanation, Echidna ridiculed Subaru's circumstances with that comment. Whilst hearing that comment, Subaru and the others jumped and descended the staircase of the library, moving in order to reunite with their comrades who had distanced themselves from Tegeta.
Unfortunately, I happen to have amnesia. I have no idea about having a relationship with these Sinarch Bishop folks worth calling profound. Am I really that connected to them?
At the very least, they are the ones responsible for making us come to this tower, I suppose. Seeking a solution to what all they had done, we made a long journey through the desert.
I reckon I've only heard the surface of the aim bit behind coming to this tower. So, they were the true origin. They really are unable to do anything decent.
Frowning in tediousness, Subaru was stumped by happening to have a destined relationship with unpleasant parties. Although he did not press them much about it, both Beatrice and Echidna did not limit the people he was connected to as only gluttony. If Subaru's ideas were correct, then there were perhaps 7 people who were all Sin Archbishops. Thus, he conjectured that the ones he had gotten involved with had not solely been gluttony.
That depresses me, so I don't want to talk about it right now.
Echidna! And Subaru is with you as well!
And once Subaru and the others returned to the 4th floor and sprinted towards the aisle, the person who came dashing towards them just then, Julius, raised the voice of surprise. Last time as well, Julius had returned to Degeta in order to inform Echidna and Subaru of the atypical situation surrounding the tower. They had now encountered him a bit earlier. Seeing Subaru having safely returned from the Book of the Dead, Julius said,
"So you are safe, Subaru. Did you secure vital information from the Book of the Dead?"
Though it will be the same explanation I gave to Beatrice and the others. That failed. The detailed explanation's a question for me later, so I'd like to solve these abnormal circumstances concurrently.
What do you mean? In other words...
It means I can guess what the general situation is. Right now, which beasts are surrounding the tower, right?
The moment Subaru fired his question, an immense tremor jolted the tower. That indistinct and constant something akin to tremors reached everyone present inside the tower. Its cause, being correctly guessed, made Julius gaze in slight wonderment. However, he immediately lowered his chin and nodded.
Just as you say. Currently, the environs of Pleiades' watchtower have been besieged by a great number of witch beasts. At the outer edge of the tower, Miss Shaw is fighting arduously to stall the witch beast incursion, but...
If the identity of these tremors is a horde of bad animal chants, then... no matter how strongly the naked Oné sound may stand, she'll eventually not be able to restrain them then.
Henceforth, I want you to lend your strength. What do you say, Meili?
Meili jumped into the conversation and Julius faced and requested her with sincerity. Accepting his sincerity, Meili turned a profoundly meaningful gaze towards Subaru and the others. Getting the impression that the gaze intended to ask about the pros and cons about her actions, Subaru lightly inhaled and nodded.
I'm going to request that of you as well. Meili, nothing will get sorted if it isn't for you. Sorry for this being so sudden, but please, cooperate, so that we can all take a step forward, together.
Jeez, Oni-san. Still so pathetic even after saying such grand words. But since you asked me earnestly, leave that place to me. Be grateful.
My heartfelt gratitude! I love you.
How petty.
Making a sour look in response to Subaru's gratitude, Meili gave her consent to being the one to deal with the witch beasts. With this, one of the 5 obstacles would be cleared. Up to this point, it had gone the same as last time, hence...
Well then, let's take her to Miss Shala.
No, we'll be taking a different course of action. Meili, do you know where the balcony is? Work together with Shala there, and do something to stall the witch beasts, in any way.
The end of the aisle, right? Really? You don't know how to treat people.
Hearing that, Meili spilled a sigh and dashed off. Though languid and enthusiastic, seeing her move in accordance with his own orders, Subaru understood Though languid and unenthusiastic, seeing her move in accordance with his own orders, Subaru understood that that was her own way of walking. That was as fast as she could run, and
Subaru, the witch beast aside, you seem to possess some sort of conviction. What are you aware of?
Guess it seems so. I'll explain it along the way. Come with me for now. We must hurry, or Amelia-chan and the others will be in danger.
Huh?
Julius widened his eyes in astonishment, and Subaru broke into a run after patting his shoulder. He held Beatrice in his arms, and Akinna hurried behind them as well. For a moment, Julius was stumped but shook his head and caught up to his back quickly.
Earlier I told you that I failed to dive into the Book of the Dead, right? I couldn't see Reed's memories. Instead of that, I came across another chap over there. I encountered the Sin Archbishop of Gluttony.
No way. Why would gluttony be in the Book of the Dead?
Hearing the name of the enemy he had a connection to, Julius's expression froze. Akinna called out to his side profile with, "Julius." She alone was making an expression of feeling chagrined pertaining to the speed of her feet as she raised a single finger.
According to what Natsuki-kun said, the Books of the Dead are an apparatus of the Cradle of Odlagna, the Hall of Memories. In order to take custody of the memories of the dead, the path of life walked, and the Sin Archbishops of Gluttony eat the memories and names of others. In other words,
Their authority is to make use of that aspect of Odlagna's power. No, you said that you met gluttony in the book, right? If that's so, then... Subaru, the reason behind your memory loss...
Yeah, it's nothing like the Tower Trapple mechanism. A complete formido opportunitura exequens. Meaning, it was an accident caused by a random encounter. The same way of victimization, as you say.
It was impossible to imagine having to encounter gluttony when facing the Book of the Dead. If Subaru and the others' imagination last time had been correct as well, then the Book of the Dead possessing the possibility of encountering gluttony was solely Reed's book, who had been reconstructed in the tower. How terrible a fortune would one need for that to happen? He also wished to object to the deeds of the Subaru until yesterday, so much so that he had started wanting to believe idle gossip like him truly possessing a connection with the Sin Archbishops.
For it to be the same as this would be in quite awful taste, I must say. However, if there had been contact between you and Gluttony as far as last night, then this charge of the witch beast would also be because of that.
It'd mean that the enemy ended up getting more than half a day's time for making preparations, I suppose. Had Subaru remembered, matters might have been... Betty isn't reproaching Subaru, in fact.
I know, but it's obvious that you'd reproach me. It would have been better if had the me until yesterday not made this blunder. It would have been better if the me of right now was smarter.
Were that the case, they surely would have been able to face the enemy in a further prepared state, but saying that now was pointless. Contesting with all the cards they possessed, that was vital. What was needed was readiness, decisiveness, and the intent to have faith in, not in oneself, but in comrades.
Just as you've guessed, the horde of witch beasts is Gluttony's doing. On top of that, Gluttony himself will march in and enter, aiming for Amelia-chan. And us.
And before Subaru and the others reached her, having noticed it late, Amelia would be coerced into making strenuous fighting efforts on her lonesome and letting Ram's group escape, calling the result of getting one's own name eaten upon herself. They must stop that from happening this time. For that purpose, he had taken shortcuts in several positions of the game.
If we don't let Amelia-chan's name get robbed...
Perhaps they might prevent Ram from withdrawing from the war front. Last time, the reason why Ram had been unable to undertake action was the result of Bat and Kaido stealing Amelia's name, for she had been unable to react to Amelia's existence being missing from her memories. Should that risk be done away with, it would be plausible to expect Ram to be a fighting force. Should they hold on to Ram and take care of her whom she had brought with herself, then there should not be any issues in that regard either. And if the tag team of Amelia and Ram could hold Bat and Kaidos down,
Julius! There's a job you have to do as well. We'll somehow manage things with Gluttony. There's another destined opponent for you. I very well get you have the feeling of wanting to send him flying, but...
But what? In this place, an opponent which should be prioritized above Gluttony can't...
Reed's going to come down. If he manages to interfere, then everything will come down to nothing. There's the role to stop that.
Receiving that elucidation, the repeated surprise yielded wrinkles at the center of Julius's forehead yet again. However, rather than meager astonishment this time, as it was more composed... However, rather than meager astonishment this time, it was composed more of perplexity and doubt. It was a matter of course. The attack and raid by the large horde of witch beasts and the Synarch Bishop of Gluttony, both of those could be disposed of as things he heard directly from Gluttony in the Book of the Dead. However, matters would differ should Reed's existence get tangled with that. There was no point of contact between the existence of Reed and Gluttony, because, at the very least, the facility of the tower and the Synarch Bishops were unrelated. Henceforth, seeking a logical basis for that explanation was not possible.
If that is true, then let us assume Reed Estrella shall arrive downstairs. In this state of affairs, the possibility of him acting whilst ignoring them...
Can't imagine that happening. Right? Really? Does he seem to be the type of guy who would be influenced by the surrounding situation?
Sorry, but Betty can't imagine that happening, in fact. That thing has the nature to prioritize whatever it wants to do, I suppose. No matter what the situation.
Beatrice assented so on the basis of an unpleasant confirmation whilst being carried in Subaru's arms. Hearing her, Julius reached a conclusion, then looked at Echidna as if asking for final thoughts. Echidna shrugged her petite shoulders in response to his gaze.
I agree as well. Regardless, it is difficult to believe he would start walking around freely in the tower. Though, it would be more accurate to say that I do not want to believe that. Natsuki-kun, would that information too be...
That's right. I heard from Gluttony.
After hesitating for a moment, Subaru nodded and boldly lied, responding to Echidna's question. In fact, the possibility of Gluttony playing a role in the sequence of events of Reed walking freely was slim. At the very least, Bat and Kaidos had been surprised by Reed's presence, and looking at how they dealt with each other, he must not have been summoned by Reed as an ally either. Ergo, why this had been entirely unable to convey the authenticity of the information Subaru had being more like a safeguard. Listening to Subaru's answer, who was at a somewhat rough spot, Julius dove into his thoughts, making a strained face. However, even when they were troubled with thoughts, time continued to flow moment by moment. Especially presently, the situation of the tower was worsening with the horde of witch beasts and Synarch bishops. Recognizing that fact, Echidna called out by saying, "Julius."
In the present situation, I am also hesitant about keeping distance from visible threats and turning toward potential hazards, but Natsuki-kun's words...
Could be trusted, yes, I know, Echidna. To be honest, I find it regrettable to turn away from the Synarch Bishop of Gluttony. Bitter enemy of mine as well. However...
Reed Estrella can only be left to you, just as I told you earlier.
If I do not win, our calculations will fail, was it? Jeez, such incorrigible, killing words.
Should their calculations fail, should the gears come disjointed, perhaps what would be yielded forth would be a tragedy lacking reason. As if having caught a glimpse of that in Subaru's earnest black eyes, Julius let out a deep sigh.
Oh. I promise you, I shall take the responsibility for Reed. However, if things turn out that he cannot move from the second floor, then I shall join you. Any objections?
None. There can't be anything better than you being Ryoka Kaniona, and Reed being immobile. I'll leave the judgment of the timing up to you, but it's your duty to win against Reed as well, you know?
Very well, I understand. Echidna, Beatrice-sama, I shall leave the rest to you.
Leave it to me!
Subaru distorted his cheeks at the remark, entrusting the other two rather than himself, whereas Julius smoothly caressed his bangs and gallantly turned her back towards them. The cuffs of his white clothes getting disordered, Julius kicked the floor with his lengthy legs and headed for the staircase to the second floor.
I will not press you much regarding how you got that conviction. What is important is that we trust you. I will appreciate if you do not betray mine or his feelings.
I don't know what you're talking about. But you have my gratitude.
Having seen off Julius's back, Echidna addressed him within a low tone. The true intent of those words was targeted at how flimsy the connection seemed between Reed and Gluttony. Gulping down that unease, Echidna and Julius made the gesture of trusting Subaru's discourse. He must respond to their trust, their expectations. Abruptly, just when his mind came upon such thoughts, a chilling sensation rose in the interior of Subaru's chest. Beatrice furrowed her eyes upon Subaru's response, but Subaru narrowed his eyes and turned away from her reaction. He had memories of this warmth. It was the clear warmth he had tasted immediately prior to being swallowed by the shadow in the previous loop. His heart rate increasing, Subaru suffered the chilling warmth and closed his eyes. What levitated at the back of his eyelids were balls of light shivering with fleetingness and transience. One was within his arms, and the other was right next to him, and one was in the direction Subaru was facing.
Let's hurry! We all have to go by ourselves and join Emilia-chan and the others!
That is all well and good, but will it be of any help? To say it clearly, you as you are right now and Beatrice, and me on top of that, are all non-combatants.
Betty can act as a bit of fighting force upon wanting either, I suppose.
With Subaru having sprinted ahead, Beatrice and Echidna exchanged their views. Echidna's anxiety was indisputable, and Beatrice's idea was correct. Sadly enough, Subaru and the others could not act as reinforcement for Emilia in terms of being military assets instead of them.
Arasu, so you have woken up?
Rom!
Around a bend in the aisle was the same spectacle as before. The figure of Ram on Petrash's back with Rem in her arms appeared. She jauntily jumped off Petrash's back and handed over the reins to Subaru.
You took too long to wake up. Look after Rem. Protect her with the resolve to die. You won't be excused if you hurt her or touch her in a weird manner. Rom will...
Wait! In a lot of ways, you're too fast. I get what you're talking about, but calm down. You're...
The Sin Archbishop of Gluttony is here. Emilia-sama is fighting back, but she won't fare well. Rom must return immediately, or it will be too late.
That instant, the emotions recurring within Subaru's chest were complex. Concern for Ram, who hurriedly wanted to return to the battlefield, relief over hearing Emilia's name from her mouth, rage spreading towards the presence of the abominable Baten Kaitos, his bitter enemy, being confirmed. Keeping those aside, Subaru handed over the reins he had been given to Echidna.
Echidna, I'm counting on you to take Rem and Patrichet to a safe zone. The balcony on the second floor won't do. You can't get close to the green room right now, either. Taigeta should probably be the safest.
Natsuki-kun, what about you?
Beatrice and I will go with Rom for the Sin Archbishop.
Subaru glared into the pale cerulean eyes of Echidna, who had been startled by having the reins handed to her suddenly. While she inhaled faintly, Subaru caressed Petrash's neck and jerked his chin up, seeing Rem on Petrash's back.
Earlier, you said this. To not betray your trust. I'm counting on you for the same. Rem's in your hands. She's an indispensable girl for Natsuki Subaru.
What a curious thing to say. Even though you yourself are supposed to be Natsuki Subaru.
I also trust you for understanding my feelings a bit. You know?
He had heard that the existence of Echidna consisted of having borrowed the body of a young girl originally named Anastasia. That could also be said to be a position similar to the present Natsuki Subaru, who was overriding the existence Natsuki Subaru within himself. Receiving those words from Subaru, Echidna made a staggered expression.
Natsuki-kun, could it be that you are...
I'm counting on you.
Not letting Echidna complete her words, Subaru sprinted, leaving her and the rest behind. Ram had already been heading towards the front of the aisle, leaving while catching a small glimpse of Rem's sleeping face atop Patrash's back and stimulating her own courage.
Why did you come, Barasu? Rem is...
Rem said to do what needs to be done instead of looking after her. That was preached to me in the book.
By Rem? What does that mean?
Ram's light crimson eyes gave way to unrest upon Subaru's words, who was right next to her. It was just that they simply did not have enough time for him to cordially and courteously explain the events that had transpired in the Hall of Memories. That was why Subaru conveyed only what was utmost important briefly.
Rem said to fight and get things back. That's why I'll go with you too.
Of course, don't forget that Betty will be there too, in fact.
That is fine for now. You'll be cross-examined about it 100 times later.
Isn't 100 a bit too scary?
Subaru shivered since he could not hear it even to be a joke in Ram's case. However, it was her compassion in letting Subaru bypass that, despite him not having explained a single crucial thing, and the circumstance where exactly that was required approached right in front of their eyes.
Ice brand arts.
The following moment, Amelia's back was visible in the center of the frozen aisle as she fluttered, dancing about with ornaments of ice. Confronting her was the Sin Archbishop of dirty appearance, Libat and Kaidos. Catching sight of that, Ram shouted, Subaru was convinced that they had made it in time, considering that was Amelia's name, and at the same time, Amelia noticed them behind upon being called and responded with, Ram!
Why did you come back? And Subaru and Beatrice too? I'm glad you're okay, but this is really dangerous right now. Stay away! Get away!
Rem has been evacuated to someplace safe. From now on, Ram shall also assist you in battle.
But, Ram, you're...
To be taken away, and do you think Ram will allow it, even if you say that?
While responding to Amelia, Ram reached to her legs and unsheathed the slender wand equipped there. The wand was shorter than what normally magicians could be imagined to have, though it seemed like an article with no peculiarities. It could also be felt that it exerted a sense of enigma and a strange pressure, and seeing Ram's form preparing to use it, Gluttony laughed at a distance away from Amelia.
What is this? What is this? So you came back, Nesama? Oh dear, how handsome! Is Nesama so cool? Truly, Nesama is wonderful!
Irksome. You shall be killed, Sin Archbishop!
Ram fired her quiet intent to kill towards the Sin Archbishop, clapping his hands and guffawing. It was intense rage enough to send chills down Subaru's spine, who had never been faced by it as he glanced from the side. Despite receiving that direct eye contact, Batten Kaios' composure did not flinch whatsoever.
How nice, so nice, very nice, quite nice. As it is nice, isn't it nice? As it's probably nice, as it's perhaps nice, as we think it is nice. Gluttonous drinking, gluttony. We apologize for the arbitrary bringing an end to this overwhelming bond, though in actuality, it was supposed to be a much more touching reunion, you know.
What are you?
Something like stealing the name and memories of a valuable person feels like becoming the greatest enemy upon being the thought of revenge, right? Yet, the people eaten by us don't remember that in most cases. That's what we mean. Even though we love, we understand. Nesama this much. Nesama doesn't know even the slightest bit of that feeling. That's what we mean. That's like a wasteful way of usage, like showering salt onto a high-quality ingredient that makes you salivate, isn't it?
Attentively and profoundly, the Sin Archbishop of Gluttony commenced explaining circumstances completely impossible to be referred to. The truth was, the power Gluttony wielded of stealing the memories of others was an act equivalent to trampling upon life. Should family members, lovers, benefactors be attacked by them, the worst possible phenomenon would be that they would be forgotten and disappear onto the other side of oblivion, and the hatred which was supposed to exist would also vanish.
In one way, that would function as a safety against letting anyone take revenge on themselves. However,
Isn't that, well, the greatest level of boring?
however, none other than Bat and Kaidos declared it to be boring.
Huh?
The rich hatred that was originally supposed to be attained, or the rumbling, corrupted rage such freshly aromatic and fetid emotions get thoroughly denied is what we mean. That's a great loss for us until the appearance of that Oni-san over there.
Me?
Say, Oni-san, for some reason, even after we eat a person's name, you can still remember them, right? We pretty much do get the reason behind that. The place Oni-san was born must have been a bit different from here, but what's important is the results. Oni-san is our savior.
While saying so, Baten Kaitos opened his arms wide and continued looking at Subaru with an intoxicated expression, with a passionate and zealous gaze as if he were truly deeply in love with Subaru.
No, let's rather state in this way. Oni-san is our hero. Innocent, hardworking, uneasy, unless someone is by his side. Mean, makes our chest sting and hurt the more we think about it. On top of that, a hero who understands those feelings.
Stop it! With such eerie comments! With what intention are you?
Of course, these are emotions from the bottom of the heart. How harsh, how pathetic. Even though we are so gallantly, we are so wholeheartedly thinking of Oni-san, you know?
Subaru could not comprehend how true a remark that was, composed of blended emotions. He could not imagine it either, neither did he want to. However, taking Baten Kaitos' comments until now into account, naturally it became clear. The emotions of the existence captured by him, directed towards Subaru, were deception was unnecessary. The emotions of Rem, who had been captured by him, were being...
How about it? If it suits you, then let's repeat that touching passion once again. Let's start from here, Oni-san. From square one. No, from Whoopsie!
At that instant, after having stalked up the Baten Kaitos' rear, Amelia slammed the large ice hammer she held in both of her hands into the back of the Sin Archbishop's head mercilessly. Hit by a blow devoid of leniency, quite similar to one found in a manga, Baten Kaitos' sentence was interrupted, and in a single moment, Baten Kaitos fell forward, completely conked out.
Huh? We won?
I did it!
With Baten Kaitos silent and inactive, Amelia made a triumphant pose with her fist clenched. Only after looking at the two did Subaru finally widen his eyes at that dreadfully abrupt, quick conclusion.
The curtain fell way too quickly, in fact.
Indeed. Where should Rom take these feelings when she was just about to tear that thing to pieces, Amelia-sama?
What? What's wrong?
Nothing. It was splendid. Yes, truly splendid.
Beatrice, who was being hugged by Subaru, and Ram expressed their disappointment for the collapsed gluttony. Ram, who had the connection between her and the bitter enemy trampled upon in an unexpected manner, seemed to have a complex state of mind pertaining to Amelia's action. However...
Well, there's certainly a mountain of stuff I'd like to say, but the words which come up the first are... Amelia-chan! Dekashita! With this, we should tie up gluttony and...
Unfortunately, it can't be allowed to go that way, Oni-san.
Before Subaru, who was thinking that the second of the 5 obstacles had been digested in an unexpected fashion, Baten Kaido slowly and languidly stood up despite having supposedly gone limp and collapsed. Subaru widened his eyes in response to that unnatural movement while Beatrice stiffened herself. Of course, Amelia and Ram also had a hue of vigilance paint their eyes.
Did he go crazy by getting hit in the head? Also, considering his courting comments towards Barasu, if he can't discern the situation, then...
All that is fine. We have also already conveyed our feelings, and neither do we intend to do something like hold back.
Halting Ram's words, Baton Kaitos remained with his eyes cast downwards after standing up, hiding his face behind his long, dark brown hair. He muttered and whispered something, as if overlapping with those whispers, a distorted and repulsive sound echoed through the aisle.
You're kidding.
Amelia blinked her amethyst eyes in response to the bizarre happening accompanying the repulsive echo. What was being reflected in her beautiful eyes was Baton Kaitos' body changing from its very skeletal structure, giving rise to a distorted sound. The flesh body of the petite youth morphed into a muscly and brawny giant. A nightmarish occurrence, but what was truly nightmarish for Subaru was waiting ahead.
Right, Oni-san? Were you surprised? This is solar eclipse. Well, kind of like one of our trump cards. Unlike earlier this time, we'll make you ours through sheer force.
You sure are saying some pretty eerie stuff. Shape-shifting bastard! You are...
Seized with nightmarish dread, Subaru posed that question whilst sweating cold. Receiving that, the giant smiled sweetly and without hiding his eccentric... hiding his eccentric ambience, bowed.
Sin Archbishop of the Witch Cult, representing gluttony, Louis Arneb. We can't stay for long. By snatching and eating, we must clean up everything, while Li-chan's asleep, you see?
And that is the chapter.
Yay, team!
Hey.
Yay!
How dare he put Rem's words in his mouth?
You dare stand where she stood!
What do you mean?
My words.
Had to do a lot of
You get her words out of your filthy mouth!
My Rem!
but we cooked. Okay, that was weirdly one of the funniest chapters in the series with some of the fucking jokes that were in that chapter. Like, like the unexpected Julius throwing shade at Subaru while he fucking leaves was crazy.
Yeah, no, that was like completely uncalled for.
It's like, ladies, you've got this, right?
Subaru's just like, what about me?
He didn't hit his quota. He had to speed run it.
His quota.
Yeah.
Bro left it to Echidna over Subaru. Like, come on, bro.
It was an absolutely great decision.
Rom comforting Amelia after she makes fun of her. It's like,
Yeah.
now, don't you worry. It was splendid. Just like Amelia in Arc 2.
Very splendid.
I wanted to be the one to beat the shit out of him. Did I do something wrong? No.
She had all that hype and build up, and Amelia just kicks him to the curb.
Ram took too long. What can you say? Amelia saw an opportunity. She had a big old hammer. She called Ice Brand Arts. She had her power up. You gotta do something.
It seems like
She did the same thing against Wrath when she first encounters her in Arc 5.
Yeah.
Just launches it on sight.
It seems like a combination of Ram and Subaru is a very good way to distract Bat and Kaitos, but then unleash Louis. No!
I can fucking picture it in the anime with like cuts to like in his monologue cutting to Subaru and Ram's faces only for it to be absolutely fucking crushed by just hey, and then he's gone.
Boom.
But
It's
Louis,
so
ooh.
funny how much build up there is, and immediately just goes bonk.
Yeah, it's like 10 fucking pages of just we need to deal with gluttony, guys. We need to figure out. We need to get to gluttony now. Amelia might lose, guys. Guys, she might lose to gluttony.
Amelia comes in.
Shut up.
Excuse me.
Shut up, gluttony.
I-
Strong hammer.
I just love that Tappei, for any excuse he can, breaks the trope of that if the person can monologue and someone's there that can actually interrupt them, they will interrupt.
Well, yeah, that's what happened in the last chapter with Reed too. Like, Lai was trying to monologue to Reed, and he just lunges at him and kicks him, and I think he killed him in one hit.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't transform in the last chapter.
Yeah.
He's just out for the rest of it.
Brother's got
He
home.
got up at the end though.
Yeah.
That's true. He did.
But
That's
he
just so
essentially
fun.
one shot.
It was a hard reboot.
Yeah, it was a hard factory reset.
Like in that time, you could have like walked up and double tapped him 5 times over.
This is why you gotta double tap.
Yeah.
I actually have a new running theory.
Well, he
that-
got a bit too ready to square up.
I have a new running theory that Subaru's amnesia isn't caused by gluttony at all. It's just Reed kicked him so hard that it caused him to have amnesia for the rest of his life, even through loops.
Yeah, he got kicked and then like he got kicked so hard he flew through the staircase and like all the way down the stairs. And it was such bad memory loss. He hit his head so hard that it persisted through loops.
Oof.
God damn, that'd be
Oof is right.
awful.
I mean, probably not
Dimension.
worse than getting eaten alive by carnivorous rabbits, though.
Up the bum hole.
Mm.
And back out the other way.
We need the holy hand grenade for this scenario.
That no is crazy. It sounded like you were flying past. Meow. Earlier, Chilled mentioned that it sounded like I was running around the room doing my hiyas. I was moving around the mic. I did not move, but I did move
Okay.
around the mic.
It was not in one place.
When you multiple people
Mm.
in multiple places.
All at the same time?
Yeah. I think
Everything.
that's a great place to end off. I don't think any of us have more to say. I think we're all so fucking tired.
Yeah, those
was
chapters
a
are great,
crazy
but
ass
I'm
line at the end,
tired,
but also-
boss. Let me rest.
I'm just excited for the next ones.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yo,
Yeah.
Arc 6 is about to pick up.
Yes. Is this
For real.
is this Ram's name chapter coming up next?
No.
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 I'll double
No.
check.
No, that's a while.
Yeah, I was about to say we've
That's
got
Yeah,
phase,
that's not for
phase,
ages.
next phase.
Next phase.
Yeah,
okay.
that's post, you know.
But we're getting close to the end of this phase, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
next 2 chapters are Little King and the Woman of Scorpius.
Oh yes.
Oh.
I gotta make a thumbnail now.
Shut.
What?
Oh!
Whoa.
Bonk.
Shut.
Well, with those noises, we will leave it off until next time. Get excited.
Oh my
The
God.
best part of Arc 6 is coming up.
I was about to say this
Yay!
arc is already good in my opinion, but then these next phases that turn out the end of the arc are some of the best of ReZero like ever.
Yeah, formerly the
agree.
best part of ReZero as a whole,
Yeah,
until very
formerly,
recently.
Until recently.
Yeah, formerly.
Formerly until recently. That's one way of saying it.
I'm gonna go try to read more today.
You ain't seen nothing
Yeah.
yet, chat.
But you will next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.